Alrighty, so we're going to kind of do this backwards. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the battery out, and then I'll take it inside. I'll explain to you how I've got it set up, how I've got the terminals set up and whatnot, and the rest. I mean, it's just reverse putting it in. But her clasp broke on her strap here, so I have to get that replaced. It's very important to make sure your batteries are secured, because if you were to happen to have an accident, you don't want that battery flying around, whether it be lithium-ion or lead acid. We are running 4 lead acid batteries. After I get you inside and show you the connections, I will also show you the exact batteries that we are using, and I will also have the links to every single thing in the description of the video. I will have the links so that you know exactly what we got, from whom we got it, because that's important. So far we haven't had a single problem out of any of this, so you know, it's a good idea to go with items from individuals that have actually tested and tried. This is still a rather new system, but regardless, we've not had any single issues. I'm going to pull that off, and you can see down in the box, like I said, I'll go over the terminals a little better in a bit, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the positive and the negative bullet connector. Now these I eventually are going to replace with a better style of connector that will actually lock in place a little better. So for now, I've just got bullet terminals on here. Now, since this bike is stored outside when it's not being used, I do not leave the motor controller in the bike, okay? So I simply open up the case here. I pull out the motor controller here, and it's relatively simple. I'll try to do it with one hand here. These are going to be the hard ones probably. These are the ones that actually power the motor. This here is for your hall connector. Let me undo that clip. This here is your throttle and on and off switch. And these two, the purple and black on this side, they're black and red on this side. These are for the brakes. The brakes have little switches in them, so that when you pull on the brake, it immediately just kills the power to the motor. So there you go. That's the motor controller right there, all good to go. So I've got the battery all loose. Again, I got to get a better strap for it. You want to make sure this is secured good. As you can tell, she right now is running 4 sealed lead acid batteries. I'll show you a little bit more of those after we get inside and how we charge them, and I'll explain these terminals and stuff a little bit better to you and why I've got it done this way. So we'll see you inside. Welcome back. Let me show you what we have going on inside the box here. This is a Group 24 box from Walmart. It was like just under 10 bucks before tax. Nothing really special. Just a cheap box backed by the batteries, by the car and boat batteries. Anyway, it's got a little extra room in the side here, and I use that storage. I put the charger in there. I normally keep the extension cord in there, and I got a couple basic tools I keep down in there just in case we have issues while we're out and about. So anyway, I told you I'd show you the batteries that we use. This here is the batteries. It is a 12 volt 20 amp hour battery. I get these on eBay. I'll put the link down in the description. I get these, you can buy these at the time I bought them, and I'm sure they're still that price at this time. You can get these for 2 of them for $70 even, or you can buy them one at a time for $35.50. It's 50 cents more if you buy them one at a time. I don't know if it's if he's got a pack of 4 of them on his eBay or not. If he does, I'm sure he might have a little bit off if you buy all 4 at once. But the brand on them is I think it's ExpertBattery. Like I said, I'll put the link down in the description. If you're wondering about these here, these are lithium-ion batteries that I've been mining out of old laptop batteries. And my rule for these, if you notice I've got them marked, is I take them out and I put them into my Nightcore D2 charger I use for my electronic cigarette batteries, okay? And if they have between 3.3 volts all the way up to a full charge, what I will do is after they're charged, I will put them in this box. and it's marked A grade, okay? Now, if they are anything under 2.8, I throw it away. Anything between 2.8 and 3.3, I mark as B grade. No, it's not super scientific, but I will choose from the A grade box first when I go to make my battery out of it, and I will be doing them in the 13S configuration. That's 13 of these in a series, okay? When I do this, but I have to get a balance board and all that good stuff, balance protection board, which will have to come from Hong Kong. So that's a future project, just a heads up of what we will be doing in the future, and I'll show you how I do all this when we get to that point. So anyway, back to the lead acid batteries. Now, I showed you they're 20 amp hour batteries and 12 volt. This is hooked in a series, so that means it's 12 volt plus 12 volt, that's 24, plus 12 volt, that's 36, and plus 12 volt, that's 48. Now, your amps will stay the same when you're hooked in a series. Your amp hours, I'm sorry, will stay the same when you're hooked in a series. So even though there's 4 20 amp hour batteries, in series we still only have 20 amp hours, but we have 48 volts coming out of the outputs. So the charger we have is a 12 volt charger. Now the reason for that was when I was looking to buy a charger on eBay at the time, I couldn't find anybody in the United States that had a 48 volt charger for lead acid batteries. So I went with a 12 volt charger. I didn't want to have to wait an extra 2-3 weeks to get the charger. I wanted her to be able to ride her bike as quickly as possible. So we have a 12 volt charger. Now you can avoid all this if you just simply get a 48 volt lead acid charger. Now it's only a 2 amp charger. It's nothing big. But I don't want to charge my batteries fast. I want to charge them kind of slow because it's a little easier on the batteries. The batteries will last a little longer versus, say, charging at 6 amps. So anyway, I've got bullet connectors here, and these are cheap ones. I would highly recommend you get better ones that have good insulators and stuff on them. These are the insulators that come with these. They really, you know, they leave a lot to be desired. They're not real good. But these are probably the cheapest connectors I could find in the USA on eBay. So I will put the link to the wire that I purchased, to the connectors, to the batteries. All the links that are involved in this video I will have down in the description. So, okay, let me show you how I change from series, to parallel so I can charge at 12 volt. It's actually really simple. Most of you probably already get the idea just by taking a look. I'm going to pull this out and away. I'm making sure I have these wires plenty out of the way. I do not want a positive to touch a negative on the same battery. Things will get ugly quick. So now that's disconnected. Now all I have is 12 volts, 12 volts, 12 volts, 12 volts. They're not connected in any way. So I'm going to take my first battery, my positive, back to the second battery positive into the third battery positive into the fourth battery positive. Now over here on the negative side, I've got some wires tucked away down here, and I'm just going to pull those out, slide them into the bullet connector. One more, and now we have 4 batteries hooked in parallel, so that would be 12 volts at 80 amp hours, because when you're in parallel, you add your amp hours, okay? But your volts stay the same, just the opposite as if it's in a series. So, charging. I pulled a handy dandy little charger out here, and I'm going to plug it in. If you notice, the charge light is green there. And what I'm going to do is take my alligator clips and connect the red. Now, of course, with one hand, it's going to give me a fight. There we go, good enough. And I am going to connect the black. And we look back over our charger, and we are now charging. So that's how we've got our batteries set up. You know, I would recommend doing the same. Remember, folks, make sure you tie your batteries down to your battery box. Make sure they're tied down good. Probably even better than what I have here. And then make sure that your battery box is also tied down wherever on your bike. Again, the big reason for this is if you would happen to have an unfortunate accident, even a minor spill to where you go over. These are sealed lead acid batteries, so as long as you don't bust the housing, it shouldn't leak. That shouldn't be an issue. However, you want it to stay on the bike. You don't want it to come off the bike and hit you in the head, or you don't, any number of disasters could happen. Because like I said, there's about 60 pounds worth of batteries right here. That's a pretty hefty weight to come down on you. So these batteries, and I'm not going to pull them out of here, and you probably, I don't know if you can really see that or not, but these batteries are taped together actually. I have all these 4 batteries actually duct taped together to make them one solid unit too, to help prevent movement. So I've done everything I could to prevent movement of these batteries. That's going to benefit the batteries in so many ways. And if, again, you have an unfortunate accident, the batteries will stay with the bike. Hopefully. I mean, depends on how bad the accident is, of course. But that's it. That's pretty simple. That's what we have for our batteries. And soon, hopefully, I will be doing the lithium-ion batteries there. So we will see. Thanks for watching.